I hear people talking about the way we have to live here in this country. Harping on the wars we fight and griping about the way things ought to be. I don't mind them switching sides and standing up for things they believe in. When they're running down our country, man, they're walking on the fighting side of me.
My own music came from a need to have something to sing. I had to have something to say. I had to have something to sing. I had to have something to identify in some way in music to tell people that were listening to me who I was.
If you don't love it, leave it. Let the song I'm singing be a warning. When you're running down our country horse, you're walking on the fighting side of me.
My problem was I guess I grew up, I thought I grew up too fast. And I didn't want to go to school. I wanted to go to work. They wouldn't let me, and I wound up being thrown in jail because I wouldn't go to school. And then I would break out of these little juvenile road camps and run off and wound up stealing cars. And I was 19 years old. I really messed up, but I don't like to talk about it. But anyway, in that process of all of that, somehow or another, music seemed to be the only way out of the whole rut that I had been born into. I had been born into a period of struggling Americans who had just kind of like wiggled their way out of a Great Depression and into a period of some sort of security they found in the valley there, and the music that came forth was as pure as it could be because it was real.
First thing I remember knowing was a lonesome whistle blowing and a youngin's dream of growing up to ride on a freight train leaving town, not knowing where I'm bound. No one could change my mind, but Mama tried. The one and only rebel child from a family meek and mild, my mama seemed to know what lay in store. Despite all my Sunday learning, toward the bad I kept on turning till Mama could not hold me anymore. I turned 21 in prison, doing life without parole. One could steer me right, but Mama tried to raise me better. Her bleeding I denied, that leaves only me to blame, 'cause Mama tried.
My cousins and aunts and uncles were strung out between Oildale and Weed Patch, and they were living right in the exact spot where The Grapes of Wrath was filmed. And out in front of these old tents and half canvas-covered cabins and things of that nature, you know, you'd hear a guitar once in a while. My dad and grandpas would have, on Saturday night, if they'd had a little band, they'd have went to somebody's house and played in the living room, you know, and left the doors open, and the kids would be sleeping in the halls, and they played till daylight, you know, and that was a dance in those days. And then they went to schoolhouse, and schoolhouse, they built the old place out, the old barn dance, you know, the barn. I think what happened is those places like Lamont, California, and Irvine, California, popped up out of the grape vineyards, the places where these migrated people lived. There was beer joints that came up out of there, and those little beer joints had little bands, and the kids, probably the kids of these people that came out, wound up in these little beer joints like I did, and getting to hear yourself on a microphone for the first time, you know. And back in those days, you know, the most desired thing in the world is just to be able to sing over one of those old Shure 55s, you know, and one of those square jobs, you know. Boy, they sounded good. We tried to play like Chuck Berry. We tried to play like Elvis. We tried to play like Bing Crosby. We tried to play like whoever was that had music on the radio. And there were people like Bill Woods, who seemed like he was first. He's the first I remember being down there in those clubs But the Bakersfield sound, solely on its own, was, I think, probably nationally recognized through Tommy Collins and Gene Shepard and Wynn Stewart and Ferdinand Husky. There were probably other ones that I'm forgetting, but I think they were the ones that did the best with it. The Maddox Brothers and Rose were certainly taking it to a national level. And they had a little guitar player named Roy Nichols. He was a couple of years older than me then. And I idolized him. He was the first guy I ever idolized as a kid. He was my first hero. He was 16 years old working with the Maddox Brothers and Rose, and I was 14 playing guitar, and that's what I wanted to do. So, I mean, Roy Nichols was, why, hell, he didn't even have to go to school. He was playing guitar.
It's a big job getting by with 9 kids and a wife. Yeah, but I've been a working man, dang near all my life. I'm going working, as long as my 2 hands are fit to use. I drank my beer in a tavern and then sang a little bit of these working man blues. Well, I keep my nose on the grindstone, work hard every day. Might get a little tired on the weekend after I draw my pay, but I go back working. Come Monday morning, I'm right back with the crew. Drink my beer at a tavern and then sing a little bit of these working man blues. Blink, blink.
I think that it was inevitable that I was to be a singer because I never did want to be a singer. And even after I was in music, and it had a lot of people let me know they liked my singing. And every time they'd ask me to sing a song, somebody else in the band would, I'd say, hey man, I was hired to play guitar. You sing the song, was my attitude. And they'd finally get me up there to sing, but I really didn't want to sing.
One place he won't be, he'd be working time. As long as his 2 hands are fit to use. Drink a little beer in a tavern and then sing a little bit of this working man blues. Merle Haggard, folks. We love you. Thank you.